Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I have a fun video to do for you today. You might recognize this knife because you've seen it in a couple iterations already. This is my Maxamet Para3. The first time that I reviewed this knife, it was bone stock. It was exactly how it came from factory, except it did have this lynch clip on it. But this has become the apple bottom jeans Para3. It's wearing Rips Garage Tech blue denim micarta scales and titanium hardware that is finished in their bronze finish. And overall, I really like the look of this knife. But it's my only Para3, and alas, I just received a package. I ordered a set of scales from Cerberus Knives. That really messed with my lighting, didn't it? Anyways, this is a set of scales that are very different than any Para3 scales I have tried at all, ever. So I'm really excited to bust into them and take a look and then try them on for size. We're gonna see how they go on here. Sorry, this is probably not the most fun angle for you to be watching at the moment, but you will see the unveil here in a second. Now, Cerberus Knives, he is actually, I found out because of the return address, I think pretty local to me, which is funny. But he's a dude who does quite a few variants of Spyderco scales, specifically for the Para3 and the Paramilitary 2. I don't know if he does scales for other knives. He may, but those are the ones that I've seen him posting most about on Instagram and that I've had friends post that they've gotten. And these scales are what he calls his Stryderco Para3 scales. So this is going to be different because these are Para3 micarta scales that have been shaped much like the Strider. I guess it would be closest to the PT because of the size, but you can probably tell right away that this is a very Strider-esque shape, and I'm curious to see how they do. I've got one friend who I've talked to who already has some installed on his. They're in a different color, frankly, but they're also micarta and they're also the Stryderco ones. But you can see the work on these appears to be really good. That internal milling looks nice to me. I like the finish on this OD green micarta. I feel like it looks really cool that you've got kind of a natural darker spot. I'm excited to see how it darkens over time. We'll see by the time I'm done installing it if it's lighter than it is now. But it looks really cool to me. The edges are done well. All of the chamfering in the holes looks nice. Yeah, I'm excited to throw these on, and I decided already I'm going to stick with the brass or bronze finished titanium hardware. I think that'll look cool with the OD green. So rather than using the satin hardware it came with or the black hardware I have for a Para3, I'm just going to reuse this because I like this hardware a lot. And frankly, I'm excited that this lanyard tube should be easier to uninstall and reinstall because it's not flared like the factory ones are. It's still a tight fit, but it's not like the factory ones. Anyway, so what I've got to do now is disassemble the Para3 and get it down to liners, a blade, hardware, and a clip, and then reassemble it into these scales. So wish me luck, because this doesn't always go so swimmingly for me on Paramilitary 2s or Para3s, but we're going to see how we end up. So I'm just going to set those off to the side for now, and we're going to get cranking. Thomas Moore will appreciate these. I jokingly finally bought these because he always recommends them. So I told him I bought them to shut him up. That's not true at all. I bought them because I trust his recommendation. But I have this Weehaw kit, which I've done a video on before, and this kit has done great for me. I will say, objectively, these are better with these tips. I'll link to these on Instagram, on Amazon down below. These came in a 6-pack, but I just grabbed the T6, T8, and T10 because that should be all that we need here. So we're going to use those. I have this in case I need to get to screw from the other side simultaneously to build counter pressure. I don't know if that's the right term at all. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into this. I feel like I remember on this Flytanium hardware that these are actually all T8s except for the clip screws. Let's see if I'm crazy or if I'm right. Aha! Yes, it is a T8. So we've got T8 there, T8 there, obviously T8 there and there. Great, yeah, so the clip screws are T6s. That's all that I'll need this for. So apparently I won't need the T10. I was crazy for thinking that I did. Let's go ahead and pull these clip screws out. This is always the awkward ones to try to get to through the hole. It's funny, I've never really had any issues getting a lynch clip on or off of a knife. I probably shouldn't say that right as I'm trying to do it, right? But I've seen quite a few people complain that they've been unable to even get them on, which I find interesting. I know when they come brand new out of the packaging, sometimes the bend can be a little severe, like the angle of that kind of base plate down here can be bent a little tight, and so you just kind of, in my opinion, usually have to kind of get one screw started so it starts to pull that down, not so tight that you're worried about popping the hardware in there or anything, but I don't know, I've just always been able to kind of work around it. So I'm going to leave the screws set in there so that I don't have to fidget with them to get them back in. Sweet, let's go ahead and just start pulling out T8s now, I guess. I don't really have a order that I do this in, although I will say I'm going to try to get these body screws out first, because sometimes it can be quite the hang up if I get one of them out and the other one starts free spinning. Oh yes, it didn't happen. Starts free spinning that kind of barrel spacer in there. That's a huge bummer when that happens. So, ooh, almost lost it. As I was going to put it in the dish, that would have been hilarious. All right, so I've got screws chilling in there. Let's go ahead and get these two out now as well. Very easy. You can tell I didn't Loctite this the last time I put it together. I did that on purpose because I only have one pair of 3, and I knew I was probably going to want to try another set of scales relatively soon. I was correct. And so I just didn't want to make it too much of a headache for myself the next time for no reason. And yeah, if I were set on always having these scales on there, I probably would have put a dab of blue Loctite. You can see I even brought out the Loctite just in case. But let's see here. Try to get this off of the liner. That would be great. I realize this is probably not the most fun angle to watch this on, but I'm trying hard not to break anything at the moment, so deal with it. Alright, so there is scale number 1 in blue denim micarta. Let's see about scale number 2. Oh. Alright, let's see if we can get lucky here. Oh, yes. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Pull that out of there. Great. So I've got a couple of liners. Let's go ahead and... Those scales came off. I'm going to just leave that stop pin where it is at the moment. This is the pivot. There we have a washer. Uh-oh, where's my other washer? Is it stuck? Yep, it's right there. Great. So we've got a couple of washers, a couple of liners, a blade, a pivot. There's my lanyard tube. So that's the knife disassembled. Sorry, let me show it to you a little better. Apologize, by the way, for this random pink splotch on my kid's craft table, but you can handle it. You'll be fine. That's giving me a weird glare, isn't it? Sorry. All right. Now, we don't need these anymore. Hopefully, this is going to be as quick to put back together as it was to take apart. I forgot to grab my KPL, so I'm going to just do the weird thing and kind of apply it after the knife is back together, just because I'm too lazy to go grab it right now in the middle of this. All right, let's see. I'm going to start with, yeah, I think I'm going to do this guy. Just set it in here. I really am not the expert on doing these scale swaps, but hopefully that's helpful to you to see somebody who's not a total expert doing it, because it makes it a little more approachable if you've never done it, and I've only done it a handful of times, and I'm just kind of, I wouldn't say winging it, but just making it happen here. Those nest excellent. That seems really good based on just the way that they're pressing in. So let's next plop a washer on there. Let's set my pivot in there. Oh, you know what? Did I put the D-shaped side in there? So this pivot should be D-shaped, yeah, just on one side, and it happens to be this side. So you know what? I'm going to put this side on first so that I can get my D shape just right. Get my D shape just right, know what I mean? Alright, that is on there. Now, the interesting part. Set the blade on there. Great. Now I like to put this in kind of by setting the lock bar right into the slot, so I'm kind of locking the knife open. As I do this, I find that just makes it easiest to get the fitment right. Come on. Oh, is that working? Appears to be working. Great. You know what? I still need... I totally skipped some stuff, didn't I? Yep. I need to put this in. I'm going to give this a push just with the plastic end on here. And there we go. Lanyard tube is pressed into that side. Okay, that's one. And I also am going to need this in here. I'm wondering if I can save myself a little bit of a step and start the screwing of it onto here. I think I'm going to try that, see how it works, because that should put it in the right place as it goes onto the other side. If it's already threaded on here. Great, so I just kind of hand threaded that on there. It's confirming that that hardware is actually going to look dope with these scales. I love kind of brass and green or bronze and green. I think it looks really, really cool. All right, so this should be actually everything I need now to go ahead and start aligning this up and pressing it together. Great. Let's see, what are we looking at here? Okay, that is in place. Great. Now I've got to press this together back there. Oh, that was so easy. That snapped right into place. Excellent. And next, let's go ahead and, just so I can stop holding all this pressure on here, I'm going to get these just started. It's a handy time to be a little bit ambidextrous, isn't it? Got that pivot screw just started. Get this one started as well. Again, I'm not tightening anything down yet. I'm just kind of getting everything into one piece so I can stop. I'm holding constant pressure on it at the moment to keep everything right where it needs to be. I'm hoping I get lucky and my centering is good and my action is good off the bat. That way I don't have to do too much tuning here, but we will see. Oh, come on. Try not to ruin this screw. There we go. All right, so all of the screws are in place, other than the clip. I'm going to worry about that at the end. Let's see. Oh, what are the freaking odds? All right, so I'm already just about perfect on centering. That's what I like to see. So let me go ahead and tighten down the body screws first. Nice and tight. Again, I'm not like really trying to torque these down as hard as I can. Just getting them to where I'm confident they're going to stay in place. A little bit more. Perfect. All right, so those are tightened. That should start to give me some good pressure. Let's go here a little and there a little. See if my action is still good. That's a little tighter than I need it to be, actually. Again, this is no lube. I'm gonna work a little bit of lube down in there after this. Just giving this like not even an eighth of a turn, just a tick. Hey, we are centered. It might be like 55-45, but that is close enough for me at the moment. And here we have a Stryderco Para3. Look at that. Very, very cool. All right, now let's go ahead and throw the clip on here. Make sure I do it on the correct side for how I want to carry it. It would not be the first time that I put a clip on the wrong side, just not thinking. All right, let's go here. Start to get these a little lined up. And then just kind of give them a little bit of a coax into the hole. There we go. I find it's best to get each of them kind of set in to where they're in the scale material, but they're not like threading into the liner yet, and then start threading them down. There we go, see. All right, there's one. Again, I'm not really tightening any of these all the way yet. I want to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be with each step of this before I start torquing. Okay, so now that the other two are in place, I can torque that one and torque this one a little bit. Good. And good. Excellent. One of the worst feelings in the world is when you're tightening a screw on a knife or anything, and you're getting right to where it's as tight as it should be, and then you get that pop, and then it's loose, and then it never, then you've ruined it, right? So this actually, I kind of felt the same way on these scales, but I like that this is one of my oldest Lynch clips that I've ever owned. It's the first Lynch Para3 clip I think I ever bought. Maybe I bought it when I got the Maxamet Para3. Anyways, it's been in pocket so many times, and it's just got some natural wear on it. And I think with my Micarta scales, having some wear on the clip actually looks really cool. And I dig this bronze hardware. I think that looks really, really good. So, there you have a Stryderco Para3. I don't know how many of these scales he's making. I think, as far as I'm aware, this is only like his second or third batch that I've seen get posted. And oh, this is cool. I'll do an actual review on these scales once I've had them in pocket and carried them and I've used them a little bit. One thing that I already know I'm not crazy about is the clip placement. There's just a little bit more handle scale sticking up on this than there even is on a typical Para3. You can see usually it ends right above the lanyard hole. Here we've got even more space going up. So even with a deep carry clip, this is going to have some sticking out of the pocket. I may, if these kind of become the forever scales for this knife, I think there's a decent, like really deep carry clip. I want to say it's MXG who makes that one and not Lynch. I don't know. I may have to look into that because I do like my Para3 to carry really deep. But we'll see. I'll have it in pocket. I'll see how it performs. And I will say in hand, it feels very good right where it is. I like it quite a bit, the profile of this in hand. It definitely feels like a bigger knife a little bit than it did before. Not drastically, but I can tell in hand that I've got just a little more to hang on to. And I kind of like, yeah, the angles here feel really good. Interesting. It changes the knife for sure. So maybe what I'll have to do is just get another Para3, and then I'll have a Stryderco Para3 and a Spyderco Para3. I don't know. We shall see. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed watching me put this together. I am very pleased with myself that it went so smoothly and that I was able to get this put together quickly and almost perfectly on center. It's really, really close, and everything looks good. It's functioning. I'm excited to start carrying this, and I'm going to bring it with me on my camping trip here in a couple of days and just build some experiences in with it out there. Hopefully I'll have a lot of knives with me, so it's not going to only be this one, but it'll be a good chance to give this some pocket time and see how it does with some real use with these scales on it, because it changes the ergos, definitely. It's a pretty different scale if you really look at it. Like you can see how much material there is coming out here, and then it's also, it bulges up less back there. It's really interesting. All right, thanks guys. That'll be that. I'll have more on this knife soon, and on plenty other knives very soon as well. So I look forward to sharing that all with you guys. Thanks for checking it out.